let's do some work. I wanted to share some information with, of course, the ajna and what we can do. We talked about it yesterday, bringing the mantra into the inner journey, into the Soham. And at this point, we're still focusing on that Soham mantra, but we will, throughout this time together, will likely start to, you'll find that the Soham will become like more distant, more softer, maybe not so prevalent. And then we'll also do some breath work that will allow us to more deeply breathe into this area simply by focusing on it. Opening the third eye allows us to continue to look further in and beyond and perceive even deeper. Perceive even deeper, but what is perceiving? It is perceiving the patterns and the meaning. So one of the side effects of the third eye, if we've got intuition and clarity, the contrast to that obviously is illusion and delusion. So that's where we work. When we're in the heart, we were working with love, and the opposite of that is fear and grief, or fear starts here. So self-esteem, self-will, self-confidence, the opposite of that was fear. We come into here, love. The opposite of that contrast to that is commonly grief, seen as grief. And we come up into the throat. Oh, there goes my throat chakra. Isn't that interesting? See, this is the area that we want to pay attention to. So it's telling me to stick with the ajna. When we come into the throat, we're working with thy will instead of my will. And the my will is the ego, the egocentricity. So here we're losing the egocentricity and we're bringing in thy will. We're stepping further into the knowingness and acceptance of divine creator source, something other, something unseen, as we step further into the unseen realms. This was the bridge to the unseen as we worked with the astral biofield. And now we're going into the celestial biofield. So when I look at the beautiful Anadeath Judith book, her reference book, well used, well respected, I go to her first. Along with Barbara Brennan. Barbara Brennan's a little deeper into the biofield, but I love that juicy part of that biofield. So pattern recognition is like playing a game of connect the dots. So that's the first place that we go. When we're walking in, say, down the street and we see somebody, our brain is patterning it. It's connecting all the dots. And it's coming to its own reality, which can often be, if not practiced in this area, illusions and delusions. A lot of which I think that we're seeing now in the state of affairs in our world, in what we're experiencing. Very much so, people are not balanced in this area. They're seeing things, they're living in such a state of sympathetic that they're being chased by this saber-toothed tiger. They have no time to form clarity. Their brains are just going, and they're living in this illusional state, this beingness. There's no hope for seeing clarity under these heightened times. So let's take a look at it. So while each and every single one of these chakras bring us information, right? We were down here in the root chakra, in the grounding area, it brings us information. The emotional, it brings us information. The mental, it brings us information. The heart, it brings us information. The blueprint, thy will, brings us information. Or the egocentric side brings us information. On both sides of the contrast, we get the information. It's the task of the sixth chakra to assemble all this information. Right up here, connecting the dots into meaningful patterns of self-reflection, which leads to self-knowledge, which leads to wholeness. If we're on the side of the light, so to speak. if we had to look at it as light and dark. Once we recognize a pattern, we can intuit it, and it can become our guide for our actions, and actions are taken accordingly, good or bad. Insight means to see within. When we get insight, when we awaken, when we rise up in our vibration, we can see within and we can start recognizing some of these patterns. It allows us to see our own big picture. Are we that person sitting on top of the mountain in that broad view, grounded, centered, and aligned? And aligned with what and who we want to be in the light? How we can transcend our ego and find deeper meaning in all things. As we get in the inner sight, it includes our dreams. It also includes part of a psychic ability. If you notice that you feel that you're sensing something, don't be shy with that. Don't be shy with that. Because the clarity begins and the consciousness extends yet another step beyond what was available through the lower chakras. We're rising up. We have access to the broad vision that enables us to see our way towards completion, to self-realization. It's the illusions that can be classed as, in the Vedic term, the demons of this chakra. It seems like the illusion fixates on a frozen image, a static image, displaced in a stream of time, as Anadea explains. And for that reason is unreal. Something should be is usually an image that is an image of what is currently is not real. It pulls me from my present beingness, my present time, where I might see it more realistically. It can be a fixation on your weight. The 10 pounds thinner fails to appreciate the body the way it is now. My illusion of how a relation should be makes me criticize all the places that my relationship falls short of that image. I fail to see the meaning these issues have and might have for me. Illusions are held in place by an investment of the psychic energy. It takes energy to hold and grasp. It's that grasping onto these images. The ego is grasping onto these images. This is the place where we can catch that grasp, where we can broaden our view, where we can realistically be in the present and see it for what it really, really is. When we invest our energy into this attachment, this illusion, this delusion, it perpetuates that attachment. And it zaps us of our energy because this illusion, this attachment to this image, does not give us energy back. It eats up our energy. And the more that we attach to it, the more energy that we need to invest. And then we run into the danger of it becoming an obsession. Whether it's your weight, whether it's a relationship, whether it's this present situation, It all has the potentiality to be an obsession. It does not bring satisfaction or completion ever. It's like that of an addiction. It continues to lure you into this false place of the situation, or sometimes even a false promise of this illusion, this promise of expectation, this promise of superiority, this promise of a better way, a better life. This illusion and delusion of what may even be considered your truth. As we go through these chakras, we take all this learning, and here we come to this vast place of stillness to work with the egocentric ego side, to work with the illusions and delusions, to find clarity and pull on all these resources, especially those from the heart center and here in the soul center, into thy will, and create your new present day, present moment. We step back and we really get to see inside, insight. See our truth. And you see, that's where we get to learn and step into, and not even learn, but experience our intuition. And when intuition of our truth and our love become our driving force, that's where we want to put our energy. That's where the payback is. Obsessions fix an unusual amount of energy on a particular issue. Delusion assembles elaborate illusions around a central theme. You might be able to see a situation where this may be playing out right before your eyes. It could be a relationship. It could be a relationship with yourself, a relationship with others. It can be a world situation, the one that we're experiencing right now, where the delusion assembles elaborate illusions around a central theme and has for hundreds, if not thousands of years. We're removed from the grounded connection of the first chakra. And these upper chakras are so out of balance that they are like spinning wildly, like an engine with the clutch disengaged, non-stop. Lots of activity, no forward movement. The more we invest in an illusion, the harder it is to let go of it. We are trapped into repetitive cycles that keep us from the true understanding. When I read this, I knew that I needed to share it with you. This is the sixth chakra. This is the celestial realm. This is clarity and intuition. But before we can get to the clarity and the intuition, we need to take a look at the illusion and delusion. And what a better time to do that than today. Today offers us the full moon. Today offers us an opportunity to see what is not real or what is not working and let it go. And we're in eclipse season. There are two super potent eclipses this month, the 5th and the 21st, and the summer solstice on the 20th in the northern hemisphere, and the winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. It says, Because of the revelations the eclipses will bring, you are waking up to the truth of who you really are. So you can release old identities. It's time to reinvent yourself. Reinvent yourself to that loving person that you want to be. That oneness that we all are. That acceptance that we worked with. The acceptance of self. And right now, so much the acceptance of others. Throughout our lifetimes together, the acceptance of others. It says, fasten your seatbelt. This action-packed month is a pivot point within the year. You might want to change direction and redefine your intentions. The sun is restless in Gemini, our sign of communication. For most of the month, you may feel scattered. You may have some uncertainty about what you want in relationships. It will motivate you to reevaluate all that's near and dear to you. Your relationships with yourself and others will be under review. You are learning to value yourself more and enhance your self-worth. You're waking up to the truth of who you really are so that you can release those old identities. It's time. It's time. The eclipse energies will make you feel more emotional, so be more grounded and centered and aligned. You may need to stand up for yourself more, assert better boundaries, or perhaps stand up for somebody else. Perhaps you'll find yourself speaking before you think. Be aware of that. You have deep emotions that need to be expressed. Let's do it from a place of grounded, centered, and aligned. Wow. This is an excerpt from Carrie Samuel's. Talk about bang on. That's working with universal energy. That's part of leaning into the strength of what it offers us. So we're in alignment. That's part of our aligning. So let's feel our feet on the floor and let's go into grounding, centering, and aligning. As we align with this great work of these writers, we align with the truth of who we are with so much love and so much gratitude. Thank you so much for being here. We are part of that tipping point. We are part of that collective of support, holding space for what is going on, for all the pain and torture and beatings and horrifying images. Not just images, horrifying acts of humans. Oh my heavens. Here we go. Down into the earth. Turn on all your sensories. Let's ground into Mother Earth. Thank you, Mother Earth, for grounding us in this time so that we can do the work. Allowing those tree roots and the etheric feet to go right down to that central crystalline core of the earth. See it. Feel its draw. Today I find even my knees are firmly pressed together. I feel like my sit bones are ever so strong sitting on where I'm sitting on a harder chair, on the edge of a harder chair. And allow this Mother Earth energy to come up through the legs, into the knees, into the hips, into the lower abdomen, engaging the deep diaphragmatic breath. And into the heart. Take a nice deep breath of expansion into the heart. And take some of the weight, let all the weight of the world come off your shoulders. down your arms and into your hands. You can bring your hands to the chest with your knuckles of your thumbs into your sternum. And into the gateway of your throat, up into the ajna as we breathe it in through the ajna, through and over the cranium. Allow it to come out the top of Sahasrara and cascade down the body. And as we come into centering and getting ready for our alignment, take stock of whether you've been living in alignment. How has this been working for you with your personal truth that you've been working with? Or have you still been playing a small game? If you're playing your small game, you're ripping off yourself and you're ripping off the world. Are you holding on to circumstances or people because you see their potential, but yet they aren't living up to your expectations? It's okay to let that go. Expect the best and believe in yourself. Let go of those identities that don't serve you so you can embody your true self. And like that, let's bring that into an alignment. That hara line through, down into that central core of the earth. And up through the perineum, between the two sit bones, your two sit bones, and into the spine and the head. A fine line to divine creator source energy. And invite, with grace, this beautiful gold and white light. Permission to receive. Turn on your antenna to receive. That's simply what this is. It's the antenna. I am awake. I am here. I have activated. I've put up my antenna. I'm receiving. I receive now. I heal now. Breathe it into the head, the full head, the pineal gland, the pituitary gland. The pineal gland is just a tiny little almond. And it sits on a throne in the center of our head. It has a little seat. And it's backed by the pituitary gland. Breathe into that in the brainstem and the throat and the shoulders as we breathe in this divine energy right down through our heart, our abdomen, our hips, and our legs. Take time to let go of intentions that no longer serve you, outdated ideas, regrets, dwelling on the past, people, or circumstances who do not live up to your expectations. And be careful with expectations. Because what I know about expectations is they can almost guarantee disappointment. Let go of negative programming, restrictive attitudes, restrictive thoughts, racism, playing it safe and playing it small. As we go into our mantra meditation, I invite you to bring in the so and exhale the hum. I'm going to share with you a full moon prayer. I love my rituals. I'll be having a fire ceremony this evening. So engage your breath, and I'm just going to read this to you as for the next 2 minutes. Share this with you. Inhale so, exhale hum, one complete smooth breath. The full moon is a great time to release what doesn't serve you and society, so that you can bring in and embody what does serve. I bow to the moon, the earth, the stars, and the skies. I am allow myself to be a vessel for release and renewal. I release all that does not serve me. Anger, anguish, worry, sorrow, envy, pain, beliefs that need to be let go of. Breathe and release. Inhale and release on the exhale. Inhale and release on the exhale. I release all archaic patterning that suppresses or degrades the divine feminine in all her manifestation within myself, within all society, and on the planet. I refuse to conduct, consent, or condone thoughts, words, or deeds that degrade. As I release the hurt, the ignorance, and the greed that feeds such suppression, I call forth the unlimited creative force that is divine feminine in all forms of life. May the divine feminine and masculine engage in their internal dance to bring forth mutual harmony and respect and peaceful, joyous coexistence for all beings and this living, breathing earth. And so it is. This was written by Dr. Shamani Jain, Jain. She's the founder of Chi, CHI. Consciousness Healing Initiative. Thank you so much for sitting with me today. Thank you for allowing me to share this work. Our offering for today. I'm sticking with the Mother Deck for her light and guidance during these times. Success. A quiet endurance is the sure way to success. Never forget the goal. Never stop aspiring. Never halt in your progress. And you are sure to succeed. And so look forward to having you here tomorrow. Make it a great day.